Testing 1 2 1 2. It's been a long day. You just wanna go away. You can't sleep at night, and now I'm here. I can't promise tomorrow, but you're gonna feel out today. We can tangle it away. Now I'm here.
Hi spirits of lights, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you're here. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm just gonna do my makeup, and I got a request to go ahead and tell my landlord story, which because I told my first two stories, which was that fool when the guy I tried to have a relationship stole my computers, and then I met a nut on Craigslist. Okay, so, and in that story I kind of mentioned my landlord here and there, so I'm just going to kind of talk about that and do my makeup. Okay, and it's crazy that I'm doing my makeup right now because I'm in the process of moving, but I said let me sit my butt down, take a minute, and go ahead and do my makeup. And plus my daughter said she wants to go out and grab dinner, so I'm doing my makeup. Okay, now when I have found this place, I found this place literally on Craigslist. I went to go see a couple of places before this. The first place that I went to was really, really, you know what? I'm actually doing this. Get ready. Do this with the camera. I forgot that. I need to get my mirror. The first place that I went to go look at was really, really cute. And the guy said that the price was negotiable. But when I got there to look at the place, he said that it wasn't negotiable. He just kind of put that in, you know, to try to accumulate more, you know, people to come see it. But he was telling me that if I like the place and I like it and I rent it for more than a year, then he'll negotiate the price. And I was like, okay, no, I don't have time for them kind of games. You know, forget it. The place is nice, but no, forget that. And I was like, okay, something that just was like a scam to me. Like something else was going on here, in my opinion. So then the next place I went to go see was, this man was an Indian owner. And the place was, it was a pretty house, but it was on stairs. Like the stairs was like way up there. Am I on my way to heaven some damn where? I don't know about them stairs are steep. It looks scary up there. And then the way that the house was like slanted. The stairs was way up there, and then the house was sitting like this. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? You know. And then when we went inside to see the house, okay, it was so beautiful when you first walk in. And he showed us all around the house. And I was just like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. We were just like, ooh and ah and ooh and ah. And then we get to the kitchen, no floor. I mean, there's no towels on the floor. There was no floor. It was like a big giant hole, as if somebody was digging a tunnel, okay? And he was like, okay, the only thing is I will give you a couple of $100 off your rent, but you're not going to be able to use the kitchen, bathroom, and go towards the back, you know, door. And I said, well, how long would that be? He said, well, it's going to take me at least a couple of months. I need to be able to get a couple of months of your rent to be able to get the floor put in, because the last people who lived here dug out the floor. I said, well, why would they dig out the floor? I don't know. I was like, okay, I'll get back with you. You know what I'm saying? I'll get back with you, you know? I had to just tell him straight out. I was like, no, I'm not going to rent the place because I'm not comfortable with the fact that the whole freaking floor is out. And you talking about you need my rent money to be able to get the floor put back in. And I move in there with the floor messed up. No telling what's going to happen after that, you know. And he kept on trying to convince me that everything was cool, like, you know. And he almost wouldn't even take no for an answer. And he told me he had really been trying to rent that place out, you know. And he, you know, just really need to get it rented. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I got kids, and I got a son who's really, really curious. Like, one day I can't find him, he be in the damn floor. Or, you know, one day, you know, I'm sleeping in my room, and it's people in the house done came from underground. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the freak? I'm not moving in there. No, heck to the freaking no. He out his daggone mind. I mean, look at me. I'm black. I don't play them kind of games. I don't play them spooky games. Anything spooky, I ain't messing with, okay? So, I went and I checked Craigslist again. And I came upon the perfect house. And I called the guy, and he told me, he sounds so sweet and so sincere. He was like, well, I'm just moving out because my son going to college. And I never thought I would date again because, you know, my wife had passed. And I took a chance online, and I met the most wonderful, most beautiful woman, and I'm going to move in her house. She was going to move in my house, but we decided to keep her house because her house is bigger and it's in a nicer community. It's just really nice. I'm going to move in with her. I was like, okay, cool. Made an appointment to go see the house. When I got there, I mean, he was nice. The girl that he was dating was there. She let me describe her. But, okay, she doesn't play a part in this story. You're just going to hear me mention her. She had blonde, pretty, silky hair, like the thinnest blonde hair, and a ponytail. She had rosy pink skin. Not like pale. It was like a rosy, pretty pink. It was pretty. And she had pretty blue eyes. She had muscle legs. She had on coochie shorts. Okay, let me say it again. Coochie shorts. They were up the couch, okay? And then she had on a belly button, and she was just standing to the side chewing gum, okay? And when I finally got up the little steps, the walkway to go up the next flight of stairs, she was like, hey. I was like, hi. And, you know, and I picked up right away, okay. Now, my landlord was about, I'm going to say 52. And she looked like she was no more. I'm not going to put it past her. I'm going to say 25. 25 or younger. If she was older, I don't know. But that's the way she looked. And you can't really say what's the age of a person, you know, because nowadays people looking good. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. So I don't know, but she looked really, really young, and he looked like he need to go lay down some damn where. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, she was standing up there looking real cute, her little pink top and her little coochie shorts, okay? He was like so happy to see me. He shook my hand. He shook my kid's hand. He shook the guy hand that was with me, which was a guy that I was dating. So, you know, he was helping me move. He came with me to see the place. I thought that we was going to have some relationship, but that didn't work out. If you want to hear about that story, I'll put it at the end of this story. But he was with me to go look over the house with me, because you know when you go look at a house, you can't go by what you see. It's the little things that you got to really pay attention to that become big issues and problems when you start to rent a person's house. So that's why I had him with me. And as we started to look over the house, I was so happy my friend was with me, because he was just pointing out things about the house. And one of the things that I got excited about is the house, a hot tub in the backyard on the deck. I was like, ooh. And it was nice. And the way the house was made, it was supposed to be made really, really private. The backyard was like literally like a track field. It was so grassy, but further you go, it was like the woods. It was the woods behind the house. That was a little scary for me, but the woods was like way down, you know, and I figured I wouldn't be out there at night, so I'm not gonna really, you know, nothing's gonna happen. It's just the woods. And then we had neighbors who lived directly, not across the street. No one lived across the street from me. The neighbors lived to the side. Their backyard, and we was in ours. They couldn't see ours. They would have to come out. They had like a top deck, and it was like, it was real small. And it looked like the deck was there for decorations. Maybe you could stand out there, one or two people, and smoke a cigarette at the top stairs. But that's about it. And when we first moved in, we never seen the neighbors. It just seemed so private and so quiet. I was really, really, like, I was really excited about the hot tub in the backyard. I figured with the backyard, I could put up the basketball thing for my son, and I could put up, you know, maybe like a nice swinging bench for me and my daughter. I was thinking about some things, get a grill. I was thinking about some things for the backyard for me and my kids. I thought it was really, really nice. And then we went to go see the fireplace. The fireplace was in the front room. And he was like, when the house gets cold, you have to use oil and gas for the fireplace, and it heats up the whole house. And I was like, okay, is it central? He was like, no, nothing central here. It's through the fireplace. And I was just like kind of weirded out, because I was thinking the house is really big. Is the fireplace really going to heat up the whole house? And he was like, whenever you need oil or gas, you're going to have to call me, and I will just add whatever I spend to your rent in order for you to get it. And I said to him, I'll just call an oil company and I'll get the gas and oil in my name, you know, and I'll get, you know, pay my own bill. That's what I said to him. He said, no, if you're going to rent the house, I'm going to have to take care of the oil and gas. But, you know, whenever you get ready to use the oil and gas, you need to contact me before you use it. So, okay, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. He said he'll come right over when I need it. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, you know. And when I moved in, it was summertime. So I was like, well, I got ways to go before I need like some heat. So I'm not going to worry about too much about it. So I made an agreement with the landlord that I would rent the house. Now, I was like, you didn't show me, you know, the garage. He showed me everything but the garage, okay? And he was like, you know, it's a lot of room on the street where you could park your car. And I was like, well, I can use the garage for storage, anything. I like the garage. I like having a garage to the house. He was like, well, do you actually really need to use it? And I was like, yeah, I want to use the garage. He opens up the kitchen door and unlocks it, and we start to walk downstairs. And I see stuff in the garage. And I was like, what is all of this? He was like, oh, this is my stuff. I packed it up from the house. Now, he didn't move his stuff out of the house. He left it in the garage. He was going to use the garage as a storage place for his stuff. And I was like, oh, no. If I'm going to rent this, you got to move your stuff out. And he was like, but my stuff is not going to be bothering me. It's not going to be in your way. I said, but I want to park the car. One of the reasons why I like the house is because it had a garage. And I want to be able to put my car in the freaking garage. You're going to have to move your stuff out of the garage. He was like, okay, well, let me talk to my girlfriend. So he went outside. He was talking to his girlfriend. And I saw her saying, yeah, you know, it's no big deal to have a moving truck come and get his stuff and put it in there. So, you know, a couple of days after I moved in, the moving truck did show up, and he started moving his stuff out. And I was really, really happy about it. For me, you know, little things, you know. And one of the little things was, let me mention his fish. He had goldfish. I think they were gold. They were gold and black. and they were in a pond. I think they were goldfish. I'm not a fish person. They were in a pond. They were lighted up and decorated really beautifully on the side of the house. Really serene. He had walk bricks around, like where you could walk around and enjoy. He had a bench where you could sit and just watch. It's just really, really nice. He told me that he didn't find a place for his fish yet. And the only thing he asking me to do is to feed the fish at these times and to make sure that the temperature have to stay at this temperature at all times. So if the temperature go up outside, you have to bring the temperature down just a little bit. And if the temperature go down outside, you have to bring it up a little bit because it have to stay at a certain temperature. And I was like, no. Oh, no. I can't. And he was like, I can help you after a few times. It'd be nothing. Maybe one of your kids can do it. I was like, no. Look, take your fish, put them in a bucket. You can't leave your fish here. He said, listen, like my girlfriend really don't want me to bring the fish. You know, she got pets of her own, and these fish are used to, you know, living in this environment that he created for them. My friend, I don't know why I listened to him. My friend tells me in front of my landlord, well, I like fish. I love animals and all kind of stuff, you know, marine animals. And he said, I don't have no problem with it. He said, let me look at the schedule. He looks at it and he says, well, I might be a little late or a little early, but I can get it done. And he was like, you sure? And I'm looking at my friend like, and in my mind, I'm saying, okay, oh, he just trying to find a reason to be close to me. He just trying to find a reason to be in my life. Oh, that's what I was thinking, right? So, you know, I was like, are you sure you're going to be able to take care of these fish? Like, I don't want nothing to happen to these fish. So I told my landlord, I said, look, like, I seriously don't want nothing to happen to your fish. Like, can you at least work on trying to find somewhere for your fish to go? And he said, okay. So I'm thinking in my heart that my landlord, yeah, he's going to seriously work on trying to find somewhere for his fish to go. So, you know, now let's get back to the garage. Now we in a garage, and he moved everything out, and I'm like, wait a minute, you leaving your person. He was like, look, I don't have no room for that. It's gotta stay. I was like, no, you gotta take it with you, okay? He's like, listen, it's not bothering nobody. It's in the corner. I didn't have an issue with the person that was in the corner, but it was the size of him, okay? It was the size of a human, and it was standing up with like a race car jacket on and a baseball cap. And I was like, no, you got to take that. I can't come in the garage every morning and at night and see that thing. Like, I can't. And he was like, what is the big deal? I was like, the issue is you. Okay, you had a human size cardboard made out of you. You can't leave that here. That definitely cannot stay. So we went back and forth about this for like 20 freaking minutes. And then he was like, okay, in the future, I'm going to come get it. I'm going to just leave it for now because I ain't got no room for it. So every freaking morning, getting in my car, coming downstairs, turning the corner, he was like, it's like, every freaking morning, every freaking day, and every night I saw this poster. Now, I will admit, after about a week of being in the house, I contacted him. And I was telling him, I was telling him that the poster was like literally freaking me out. I didn't like it. And that I really want him to come get it. And he kept saying he don't see the big deal. Now my landlord was really nice. Hard not to like really complain. But that thing was so creepy to me. It was scary. Like, I just didn't like it at all. I felt like he was there with me. He was watching me. That's what I felt like. So, you know, he never came and got his poster. He never contacted me about it. He never tried to update me on the situation. So what my son did was take the cardboard and tried to turn it around, but he couldn't get it to turn all the way around because it was kind of wide and it was in the corner, and it just like it was just, and it had this piece on the back of it. It was just so inconvenient. So I just told my son, just leave it alone. Maybe one day he'll come get this freaking thing. So let me tell you, I'm in my bed sleeping. Me and my kids. Like, it was a Sunday morning. I've been working so hard in the floors, you know, trying to get myself together, trying to financially, you know, get stuff together. Because I didn't want no issues with my landlord. I wanted to get on my feet. I wanted to start saving me some money, you know. So I've been working really, really hard. My bell rings. It's early in the morning. And I'm talking about maybe 7 o'clock in the morning. I goes to the door. I said, oh my God, it's the landlord. What he doing here? So I open up the door and I said, hey, how you doing? He says, hey, I can stop by to check on my fish. How everything going? I said, do you know what time it is? He says, yeah. I said, no, look, I'm tired, okay? If you want to go in the back, it's okay. Go check on your fish, okay? I'm going to go back to bed. He's like, I kind of want to talk to you a little bit. And I said, okay. He's like, could you get dressed and come outside? Because I already been in the back. And I was like, are you serious? He was like, yeah. So I goes run upstairs, put some clothes on. And I goes downstairs to meet him in the back. And he tells me he has an issue with the fact that some of the bricks in the sidewalk look like someone been walking on it, looking like somebody been sitting in that area, that he can tell that the bricks look like they've been moved a little bit. So I'm out there. I got my robe on. So I'm like, okay, what's the real issue? And he says, you know, this space is kind of like personal. You know, I really don't want nobody kind of in it. Like, I don't want your kids walking on my bricks. I don't want nobody sitting in this area. I know it's a bench out here, but it's only for decoration. I was like, so I got to take care of your fish, but I can't sit there and watch them? No. Why? I I told you, like, it's for decoration. I don't want, I just don't, like, I've been by here a couple of times, and I'm really getting upset that, you know, someone's walking around my fish, and I said, but if I'm back there and we gotta feed the fish, he said, but you don't have to walk around the bricks. You could just go to the edge, fish food in the water, and that's it. I want you to stay out of that area. I said, how come you didn't tell me this before I rented the house? That I wasn't allowed to be in that side of the house. He says, well, I'm telling you now. Like, I hope we don't have an issue. So I was like, okay, you know what? At that moment, I want to say, F you and your fish. But I said, you know what? Let me be nice because I am renting from him. Maybe he just really care about that area, his fish. Let me just leave it alone, you know? So I talked to my kids, and I told them, don't go back there. Don't go near the fish. Don't sit on a bench. Don't walk around it. Don't do nothing. Don't show your friends. And I'm going to tell you, it was so pretty. It lit it up light and blue and pink at night. Like, he had lights in the water that lit it up. So it was just a really pretty scene, like, you know, and he was telling me he didn't want us back there. So I had to tell my kids, like, stay from back there. Don't go near that place because I don't want to hear his mouth no more. And the fact that he's coming by the house, then when I don't know about it, checking to see if we've been back there was just really creepy, okay? So I was telling my friend that my landlord came by, and he said that he saw bricks and stuff like moved, and he saw like dirt on the bricks where you walk, you know, like he could feed the fish, but he can't be back there. Like, don't be rough and don't walk on the bricks. And he was like, so you saying you gotta feed his fish, but you can't enjoy the scenery? I said, that's what he said. That's what he said, you know. And my friend was like, So the way he said, was like, forget that. I'm not feeding his fish. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to like smooth it over because, you know, I couldn't feed the fish because I had to work. And I didn't want my friend to, you know, decide he's not going to come feed the fish and something happened to them. So I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Continue feeding the landlord's fish, okay? Now, one day my friend came by. And he decided he wanted to sit in the backyard. Just sit on the porch, drink some iced tea, and just chill. While I'm cooking. I'm cooking for me and my friend, me and my kids. And he's sitting outside. So he comes and tell me that the neighbors came out on their balcony and he feel like they had like that he think they had binoculars. I was like, why would they have binoculars? He said, I don't know, but I feel like they were watching me. So I goes outside and I don't see the neighbors up on their porch no more. They left. And my friend was like, I'm telling you, they were out there with binoculars. So, you know, I let it go because I didn't see them out there. My friend came back inside, said he wasn't comfortable with sitting outside no more because the majority of the people that we lived around were Caucasian and he's a black male. And, you know, he just was telling me, okay, that ain't cool. I am not sitting out there, you know. So he came in the house and we had dinner. The next morning, the doorbell rings. Now I'm on my way to work. It's early in the morning. I'm talking about like 6 in the morning on my way to the floors to get myself set up and everything. Because unfortunately, it was just me and my daughter. So after we dropped Dream off to the school bus, we literally would make deliveries early in the morning and then come back to the shop and do more arrangements and then make the business deliveries. And then later on, we would do the residents and deliveries and take their deliveries to them after I closed the shop. But we made sure we got permission from them that it was okay for them to receive their orders after 4 o'clock. And then it was some people that we called in the morning that worked that wasn't going to be there. So, and we didn't want to leave flowers outside. So we took their deliveries in the afternoon. Here come my landlord. My landlord at the door. I said, hey, how you doing? He said, oh, everything's fine. I said, what are you doing here? I want to talk to you about the people that's living in your house. I said, what people? Ain't no people living in my house but my kids. He says, well, you know, when I rented the house, I charge you the amount for you and your 2 kids. And if there's another person living in the house, I'm going to have to charge more. Now, I'm a single woman. And, you know, at the time, I dated, you know. So it was just like, I said, no, there's nobody else living in the house. He says, well, I got notice that there was a particular person, the same person always seemed to be in your house. Are you serious? Are you serious? I said, so I can't date? He says, well, you didn't say that you would date. I didn't know I had to tell you I was dating. He says, well, how often are you going to be dating and how are they going to be staying in your house? I said, okay. Now, the thing is, the guy I was dating did not spend a night at my house yet. It didn't get that far yet as far as him staying overnight, you know. So I was telling him, I said, well, I'm not comfortable with you asking me about who's in and out my house. Like, why are you focused on who's in and out my house? I said, and aren't you living like 45 minutes away from here? He said, yes. So how you find time to see who's coming in and out my house? He says, well, I just only want to rent to you and your kids. I said, okay, I understand that, but there's nobody else living here. You don't have to worry about that. He said, okay, but if I get notice that this person is at your house 24/7 and always here, I'm going to have to charge you extra rent. What the freak? I was like, what? So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, he's sitting in a car somewhere and he's watching my freaking house. He's watching who's coming in and out my house. That's what I was thinking, you know. So me and my friend, we kind of laughed it off and we was joking. My friend even made a comment like, oh, I think he liked you. And no, he didn't like me. I didn't feel that at all. But he was thinking that because he was just couldn't understand this man persona. Like, why was he always just showing up and having an issue with me and the house? So after about a couple of weeks went past, I didn't hear nothing from the landlord. I was just like, okay, everything's moving over now. He cool with me. You know, that's what I was thinking. A little chilly one night, and I tried to just turn on this button that was by the fireplace, and nothing happened. So I contacted my friend, and I told him that I needed him to come help me with the fireplace, because I don't really want to call a landlord. I just want to kind of get the chill off the house, right? My friend came over there, and no matter what we did, we couldn't get the fireplace to work. So the next day, I called my landlord and I said, hey, I need to use the fireplace because it got chilly when I got home. I had been working on my floors all day, and when I got home, it was just too chilly for me. And he says, well, it's not even October yet. And I was like, I understand that, but you know, in Virginia, it gets start getting kind of cool, like in September, around October. And he was like, well, I don't mess with the fireplace until the beginning of October. He said, just get you a portable heater and use that. So I asked him, I said, well, why can't I just call the oil company and have them turn on the fireplace, put oil in whatever it need, the furnace or whatever, and then turn on the fireplace? Why can't I just do that myself? And he said, I told you that I already have my own contract with the oil company. I pay for it once a year. I fill it up, and you're going to have to wait. So I couldn't get the fireplace on. So now I had to go out and buy heaters for each one of our rooms, and buy like a small heater for the living room, because I couldn't enjoy the living room because it was starting to feel cold. I had to wait until September come for the landlord to get the heat on in the house. And then that's when I really started.
I just really had an attitude with him. I was mad about that thing. And he never came and got his freaking man friend sitting in the corner of my garage. He never came and get him. One night, it started warming up, and my friend was like, it's nice and cool, and it's not too hot like summertime. This would be a good time to turn on the hot tub. He asked me, could he clean out the hot tub, and can he fill it up, and it had this, like a bonfire thing, and like the hot tub, and then like in the middle on the deck. And he was like, can he go ahead and get the bonfire going, turn on the hot tub, and let's just chill. And I told him, I said, yeah, that'd be good, you know. And my kids, they were so excited. Even though it was a hot time, my kids was looking at it like a pool. Like, okay, we're about to jump in, we're about to splash, we're about to have fun. That's the way my kids was looking at it. But, yeah, we all went outside, we put some stuff on the grill. We had the bonfire going. And we all just laughing and talking, my kids going back and forth in the house, running in and out to the hot tub. And I'm kind of sitting in the hot tub, and I'm sitting there all cozy, and I'm kind of moving my feet around, playing with my friend's feet, and I just happen to be looking up at the stars, and I'm turning my head, and I see, and I look up. It was the freaking neighbors on the balcony. It was like 4 of them out there, and they had binoculars, and they was just looking at us, and they wouldn't even leave. And I was like, what are you doing? Are you looking at us? Are you watching me?
And they didn't say nothing. Now, what's crazy is these neighbors never stopped by our house. These neighbors never spoke to me. I never had anything to do with these neighbors, okay? And, you know, I felt so uncomfortable. It got to the point where I was like telling my son, give me a towel, and I wrapped a towel around me, you know, before I can like completely get out the hot tub. And I went in the house. I felt so freaking weirded out that the neighbors was out there just watching us in the hot tub. So I told my friend, I said, okay, I can't deal with that. I'm not going to be doing the hot tub thing. I'm just not going to be doing it because I don't like stuff like that. So my friend was like, well, maybe we should go over there and talk to them and ask them, like, what is their problem with us? Because, like, they're creepy. That's what my friend was saying. And I was like, no, I'm not going to say nothing to them because I can't stop them from being on their porch watching us. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing I can do about that. So the next day, a woman comes to the house. And I actually was on my way outside, moving stuff around. And I was on my way outside to put something on the side of the house. And she was like, said, hi, I'm your next door neighbor. And I was like, okay, nice to meet you. She was like, well, I came to talk to you because this is my best friend's house. So I was like, your best friend's house? You talking about the landlord? She said, yeah. And I'm basically watching his house while you're living in it. So I was like, so you watching me? She's like, no, I'm watching the house. I said, okay. She's like, I saw you in a hot tub yesterday. I said, okay. He don't like people in his hot tub. It was a birthday gift to him. He don't want nobody in it. I said, he didn't tell me that because he showed it to me during the house. He said, you have a hot tub to come with the house. She says, well, I'm telling you, he don't want you in his hot tub, you and your cats. The freak? I was like, oh, get off my porch. She was like, oh, you're rude. I said, I don't care. Get off my porch. And don't step foot on my porch again. And she's like, you know what? I'm calling such and such. I'm calling him right now. So I'm thinking like, okay, she's going to call my landlord who, oh, shoot. You know, I was thinking, my landlord ain't even going to care about what she talking about because it's the freaking hot tub. He showed me the hot tub. I can get in the hot tub if I want to. Freak her. That's what I was saying. I had my eyes on the neighbor. Like I was always waiting to see if I see her tail watching me. Like I was waiting to see if I saw. Like I had this mindset. I'm going to tell her off the next time I see her watching me. So I didn't see her in the next couple of days. A red car pulls up in front of the house on a Saturday morning on my way leaving for work. It's Robbie's girlfriend. And Robbie, she gets out the car with him. And they comes up to me and says, hey, how you doing? I said, hey, what are you doing here? He says, well, I want to come talk to you about my hot tub. I said, oh, you want to talk to me about my hot tub? He was like, no, my hot tub. I said, no, long as I pay my rent, the hot tub, your house is my house for the month that I pay for rent. So he says, well, I didn't think that you would be using the hot tub. And I was like, okay, well, what's the issue? You know, what is the problem? He was like, well, I don't really want no one, you know, using it. It was a gift to me from my girlfriend, and we're going to be using it you know, and I just been trying to respect you, you know, because I know you got kids and everything, and I've been just trying to hold out from using the hot tub until I, you know, have the house back. And I said, well, I thought that you showed me the hot tub and said I had a hot tub at the house. He said, well, I was showing it to you, but I didn't think you was actually going to use it. So I said, so are you going to go down on a rent since I can't use the hot tub? He was like, no, I'm not going to go down on a rent. I'm just asking you, could you not use it? And I was like, no, I'm going to be using the hot tub. Even though I was saying to myself, you freaking creepy neighbors, I'm going to be using the hot tub because I pay rent here. Okay? And you're not going to keep running over here every single time that something's going on. You're over here. I never, ever seen a landlord so much. I told him, I said, I'm starting to feel like me and you in a relationship. Like we in some love and hate relationship. He's like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm just looking out for my house. You know, another couple of weeks passed and it started to get chilly again. So I decided to call him and tell him he really need to come get this heat on or I'm going to do something about it. So he stopped answering my phone calls. So I called an oil company. To come, you know, put oil in the furnace and get the heat on. But when the oil company came out there, the person told me that the reason why I can't get heat is because the furnace or something about it has been red tagged. It didn't pass inspection. And I was like, well, what that mean? He says, go out to contact your landlord and ask him why he didn't pass inspection and that he need to get it fixed so he can pass inspection so you can have some heat. But I can't turn it on for you. It would be illegal. Oh my God. So I had to call him. And I said, hey, I had to be nice because I know I went above what he said as far as like the heat, don't mess with it. I told him that I called the company. They told me that I can't get the heat on. It didn't pass inspection and I need to get a heat on. He's like, okay, no problem. I'll be over there this weekend. I was thinking like, oh my God, yes, I'm glad he's just going to make sure the heat is on. Afterglow. Y'all know I'm in love with this. So the weekend comes. I'm waiting for him. He finally shows up. He gets out the car and he got 3 boxes with him. And I'm like, what the freak is going on here? And he brings the boxes up to the porch and he said, okay, here's your heat. All you got to do is plug them in. Plug it in wherever you're cold at. Now, okay, I don't know if y'all rent a house, but you can buy heaters and you can plug them up. But when it starts to get cold, you got to be really close to the heater to really feel like you don't have the chill. And the house was big. I was like, no, I don't want no heaters. I want you to get that fireplace and that furnace going. I want my heat on. And he was like, well, I got to replace the whole system. And I don't have thousands of dollars to do that. So this is going to be your heat. You either take it or you leave it. I literally was so upset. I was so upset. And I started to feel like he told me that he had a lot of people come see the house, but I felt so happy when he said, congratulations, you're the one we chose for the house. I felt like he chose me because he knew I was a single mom. I was desperate, and I probably act too googly eye over the house, and that whatever the issue is with the house, once he got me in it, I'm going to pay the rent no matter what, and that's going to be it. And at that moment, I felt like, oh my God, like I can't go through, you know, the winter freezing, you know? So one day, I'm at work, and I get a phone call from my landlord. He hollering and screaming on the phone, hollering and screaming. And I'm like, calm down. What the freak? Why are you yelling at me? You're irresponsible. You're inconsiderate. I can't believe this. I want you out of my house. I was like, what the freak? What did I do? Oh my God, did my son do something? Did my kids did something? He was really, really screaming at me. And I told him, I said, look, I'm closing up. I'm on my way home now. So once I got home, I didn't see him. But him and his girlfriend was in the back, and he was on his knees at the pond, and all I heard was, oh my God, oh my God, oh, I can't believe this, I can't believe this. So I goes back there, and I was like, what's going on, what's going on? You did this, you did this. I was like, what? Did what? What happened? My fish, my fish, my fish. So I look in the pond, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The fish got too cold. The temperature wasn't turned up. I was like, oh no. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You did it on purpose. You killed my fish. I was like, what? I didn't kill your fish. He said, when the last time you checked on it? I said, I didn't. I didn't check on the fish. I didn't even think to check on the fish. My friend supposed to check on the fish. So I called my friend up and I said, hey, did you check on the fish? He's like, no, I didn't have time to check on the fish. I've been working all day. You know, I got a customer because he was starting his own little business up. He said he was working on somebody's computer all day, trying to clean the computer up. He haven't had a chance to come swing by. And I usually don't see my friend but maybe 3 times out the week. And he would stop by the house on his own and feed the fish and turn the temperature up and down, you know. But for some reason, it didn't cross my mind to call him and say, hey, I know it's been 2 days since I've seen you, but have you been by my house to make sure you take care of my landlord's fish? Now, in my opinion, I think it was out of consideration and courtesy for my friend to want to do this for me. But he really didn't have to do this. He didn't owe the landlord nothing. I told the landlord that I wasn't going to take care of his fish. I don't have no pets. I don't want no fish. I don't want no dog, your cat, your cow. I'm not taking care of none of that. I told him that. And then for my friend to say, oh, I'll stop by and I'll, you know, take care of the fish. In my heart, I was feeling like, no, I don't really want to depend on nobody. Something happened to the fish. I got to deal with this. I was thinking to myself, okay, my friend seemed really confident. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing's going to happen to this man's fish. And guess what? You killed my fish. And I was just like, oh God, I'm so sorry. And then my kids standing outside and my son saying, we didn't mean to kill the fish. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. And I was like, oh my God. Oh God. So then I was like telling my friend on the phone, I was like, the fish is dead. The fish are dead. My landlord is here. He's having a fit. And in my mind, I was thinking like, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me? Like I was like, okay, I was starting to feel scared because you would have thought that I murdered somebody and buried them. Okay? My friend said, well, I'm on my way over, right? So I'm outside and I'm talking to his girlfriend and she was real cool. She was like, well, I don't think that you did this on purpose. I just think it was just a terrible mistake and it just happened. And she was like, I just think that he's being over dramatic about the fish and I'm so sorry that you feel so bad now. And he still was over there. my God, you know. So I'm on the porch and I'm talking to my kids and the neighbor's outside. The neighbor come over. She bends down to the dirt and she's hugging him and they rocking and she's talking to him. And I'm like, oh my God, why me? Why me? And I'm still waiting on my friend. My friend pulls up. At the same time he pulls up, here come the cops. Here come the cops. And I'm thinking like, oh my God. The cop shows up the same time my friend showed up. So now I'm really worried. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, I gotta really apologize to this man. Like, I'm gonna go to jail. I just murdered his fish. Like fishes. I don't know, fish. I don't know what it is. I just murdered his fishes. I'm using Kitty Primer, by the way. By Stilla. Pop gets out the car and he goes up to him and I hear him talking to him. Me and my kids on the porch, we kind of scared. My friend was like, oh my God, like what's going on? I said, I think he's about to press charges on me for killing his fish. I said, but you know, maybe you can explain to the cop that you had responsibility, like you told him you would take care of his fish and that I don't have nothing to do with it. He was like, oh, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I didn't kill his fish. I don't know when his fish died. You know, and my friend kind of got like scared, so it's like, okay, I'll just tell the cops it was just a terrible mistake. You know, hopefully I don't get locked up for this. And then my friend was like, well, maybe the worst that can happen is he gonna sue you for the fish. Him and the cop started walking over towards me. The cop was telling me that my landlord was a good friend of his, and he came over because, you know, my friend was really upset and he wanted to find out what he can do, you know, about what's going on. And I wanted to see what happened with the situation, to see, you know, how we going to handle this. So I was like, can I be arrested? He's like, no, I'm not here to arrest you. I'm not here. I'm not on duty. I said, but your lights are on. He was like, I know. I got the lights on because, you know, I just got off work not too long ago and I am here to check out things to make sure that there's not an issue. So he started asking me questions, asking my friend questions, and then he was like, well, it don't sound like, you know, no one killed the fish on purpose. He was like telling my landlord, listen, I think this was just a terrible mistake. He said, the only thing I think that you can do is just a civil matter, but I don't think like nobody can be arrested for killing your fish. So then my landlord was like, and I was telling my landlord, I said, I don't have a record. You're like, I seriously don't want to go to jail behind your fish. I'm so sorry. I was like really, really apologizing to him about his freaking fish, you know. And his face was red. His eyes was like I mean, like you would have thought. Now, if it was a dog, I would be crying too. I don't know. I would be crying. But for some reason, I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't a dog. It wasn't a cat. You know, it wasn't the goat. You know, it was fish, okay, in the water. And the temperature went wrong and they died, you know. And he was really unconsolable, you know. And he was like, well, at this point, you know, I don't trust you with my house. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do, you know, and stuff like that, saying stuff like that. His girlfriend told me everything would be fine. He just upset and they left. But I was upset for like a few days. I was so upset, to be honest with you. I felt upset with my friend. I was like, what happened? Like,
And he was like, I told you I got busy. But at that moment, it just felt, I was mad with him because the freaking fish died. And he made me a promise that he was going to take care of the fish. You know, I was like, I was feeling some type of way. So I wasn't feeling him as much. And when he would contact me, I would just be like, okay, you know, I'm really busy today. I'm not going to be home. On that note, I was just to the point where I was just like, man, I don't even know if I really want to even like continue trying to get to know him. I was really upset about the fish. But then, you know, he contacted me, we talk, and you know, we talk, we love talk, you know what I'm saying? You know, baby, you know, I didn't mean to kill the fish, you know, I didn't do it. Like, you know, baby, I didn't do it. I mean, this stuff happened. Don't let that mess up what me and you got going on. You know, that's how he talked to me and everything. So I was like, okay. So we still kind of continued trying to get to know each other, and he was very happy that things was going good with his little small business. And then, you know, I continued working, and then one day I had issues at my job with my computers, and I called my friend up, and I was just telling him that something was wrong with my computers, and he was telling me that my computers were old, that the memory was filling them up, and that he can look at all the laptops and he can, you know, fix the memory on them and stuff like that. So me and him, you know, made plans for him to fix the computer. I'm not going to get into that side of the story, but long story short, he tried to steal my computers. He literally left my home, took my computers to his aunt's house. I was so upset. I was so mad. I couldn't believe this man literally walked away with my stuff. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I thought we was really getting to know each other. And because he did that, when he messed up my computer, it messed up the part where I got my orders from FTD, Teleflora, BloomNet, Flower Shop Network, some other company, and my orders couldn't even come through, you know, come through the computers when I got my computer back because everything was erased. The batteries didn't seem like the same inside the back. One of the computers, the battery had been changed. One of the computers didn't come back on. It was a hot mess, and it put me in a financial situation where I had to take my rent money, part of it, and buy one new laptop so that I could continue getting my finances back up. And I paid the landlord half the rent, and we talked, and he told me, okay, as long as you have the rent next month. But things didn't go the way I wanted it to. I couldn't get caught back up. And so what I did was, because I was having small problems with the landlord, I started panicking. I started to panic. So I decided to make an ad on Craigslist and try to rent the upstairs room out, since it was made like an apartment. It was my daughter's room, but it was made like an apartment. It was so cute. So I decided to rent it out, since we had 4 bedrooms and 1 bedroom wasn't being used. And I'll put my daughter in a smaller bedroom, and I'll rent that room out, and I'll be able to, in a couple of months, I'll be all caught up with the rent, plus have extra money left over I can buy food with. That's what I was thinking. And again, the story about that fool will be at the end of this video if you want to see it. Now I'm just using this pencil just to outline my lips. I'll put my lipstick on. It's vibe. It's like a nude. It's so pretty. I could actually use it with just gloss and it would be absolutely beautiful.
Just now hitting recording. Oh my God. Sorry, I thought I had the recording on. I didn't. I'm using Too Faced red lipstick, liquid lipstick. So after I put an ad in for Craigslist. I rented the room out to a woman and her son, which turned out to be a freaking nut from Craigslist. That story will be at the end of this story. I'm not going to get into it. But the woman paid the rent for the deposit to me in the first month of her part of the rent. And I was so grateful because I was able to get almost caught up with the rent. And what's so ironic is when the woman stayed with me, I ain't have no issue with the landlord. Like, I ain't hear nothing else from him. And it was like, I was late, like didn't have all the rent money, but he didn't contact me, and these people were in my house. Like, he didn't come. And I was going to tell him that I ran into some hardship and I had to rent out my room just to get the rent caught up. And I felt like it wasn't a big issue because the house is big. I was prepared to argue with my landlord. So one day, I'm at the house, I'm cleaning up, and a truck pull up. And I didn't know what was going on, why a truck was pulling up at the house. And I'm sitting on the porch and I'm kind of waiting to see what's going on. My landlord gets out the car and some people in the truck, and they start pulling the truck up, pulling stuff out the truck. I said, what's going on? He says, oh, you're not going to be able to use the garage for a couple of months. I'm putting my stuff in it. I was like, what? He was like, my girlfriend don't have room for this stuff. You know, it's got to go in the garage. And I was like, no, get a storage, put your stuff in storage. Your stuff can't stay here. He was like, well, it's not up to you. You haven't even paid all the rent. I'm going to take a couple of $100 off of what you owe me, and I'm going to put my stuff in the garage. Now, when he said that, I was like, dang. Okay. So he put his stuff in the garage. I couldn't park my car in the garage no more. So now he had his stuff back at the house. Now, this is where the issue comes. After he put his stuff in the house, it was like ding dong every morning. Oh, I need to pick up something. What are you picking up? Oh, I need a shirt and I don't have it with me. So I let him in. He goes in there, he's digging through boxes. He pulls out a bag and he got stuff in it, and then he leaves. He says, thank you, take care. I'm like, okay. 2 days later, I need to get some stuff. I'm only going to be a few minutes. And I asked him, I said, are you going to come by almost every day in the garage? He's like, well, my stuff is here. I was like, so this stuff not storage? This is like your everyday stuff that you're going to be using? He was like, look, I'm not bothering you. I was like, look, it's like you living with me. Like, what the freak? I don't want you over here every day. And he was like, well, I don't see the issue. He said, I took a couple of $100 off your rent. What is it? I said, you took a couple of $100 off my rent so your stuff can be like storage in the garage. You didn't take a couple of $100 off the rent like we live together. Okay? Like, this not cool. Like, I'm starting to get really mad. So then he was like, okay. He's like, just work with me. Everything's going to be fine. You know, it's only going to be a couple of weeks. You know, my girlfriend's renovating and I'll be able to move stuff back in her house. So I said, okay. He shows up and he says, I need to take a shower. Take a shower where? I need to use. I said, no, you're not taking no shower here. You go over there to your best friend's house. You ain't coming up in here. You're not taking no shower here. So he says, you're not going to let me use the shower. My clothes are here. I was like, no, I'm not going to let you use the shower. You can't take a shower here. you know. And I was stern on that. Like, I didn't want him in my house. So he left. He went across the side to the neighbors, and I saw him go in the house. And then as I was going to work, he was on the porch with the neighbors watching me get in my car, and I could tell they were talking about me. And I was saying to myself, oh my freaking goodness, what am I going to freaking do with this landlord? What am I going to do with him? The fact that I had people living in my house, he didn't even bring that up, okay? So one day he called me and he said to me, when do you think that you're going to have the rest of the rent? And I was working real hard. I started doing really, really better at the shop as far as the money situation. I told him up and I told him that I had all of the rent money and I'm all caught up. And he was so freaking happy that I had all of the rent money. And I'm going to tell you what I did. I had extra money. So I went ahead and paid half of the rent for the next following month so that I would only owe him half the rent and be all caught up. But what I was planning on doing was paying when the rent came up, pay another half and just continue building credit on the rent so that I would never be behind if something was to happen. Now, I done did my makeup all backwards today because I got a lot on my mind. Okay, this is the finished look, you guys. I hope that you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed story time. But let me go ahead and finish with the ending of the story. So after I was able to get caught up with my rent, I was very excited. I was trying to help the people that live with me find jobs because they had let me know that they wasn't going to have the rent or anything like that. So I was busy trying to help them get their life together, and then one day the landlord rings the doorbell. And it was like about a week after I paid the rent and got all caught up and paid extra rent. 30 days to move. I was like, I'm not moving. He was like, yeah. I said, my lease is not up. He says, well, you broke the lease. I said, what did I do? And I thought he was going to bring up the people living with me. He was like, well, you was late on the rent for a couple of months before you got caught up. And I was like, no, okay, but I thought everything was good with us. I told you I'm not going to be late anymore. Everything's going to be fine. He was like, no, I'm moving back in my house. To be honest with you, my girlfriend, I can't deal with her because ever since I moved in her house, I haven't really been staying with her. I've been kind of staying with friends, and I've been feeling kind of like homeless because I'm not happy with her. She's not the person that I met online. Ever since I moved in with her, things been different, and I need my house back. I was like, so you're going to put me out? He says, well, yeah, because my son coming home from college, and we just want our house back. I said, so you moved your stuff in the garage because basically you moved back in. He said, yeah, I moved back in. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me this, before I got all caught up with the rent? He's like, that's what I was waiting for, you to get all caught up with the rent so you don't owe me nothing. And now I want my house back. I said, so you're not putting me out because I'm late with the rent? He says, not really, but I'm using that as the excuse to put you out. And I was standing on like, oh my God. And then at that moment, I realized, okay, I'm going to have to downsize. For the first time in many, many years, The last time I lived in an apartment was when my daughter, my baby girl, was 8 months old and my daughter was 7. Was the last time I lived in an apartment. And I decided that I would always raise them in a house because I always wanted to live in a house. And at that moment, I knew like living in a house now was not an option anymore. So I downsized to a 2-bedroom apartment, and I found a 2-bedroom apartment, and I told the person that was living with me with her son, that they was going to have to find somewhere to go at the end of the month because the landlord doesn't want us here. And before my 30 days was up, the landlord had already started coming in and out the house with the key. It was very uncomfortable. He started cleaning up around the house, cutting the grass, seeing that he's painting edges. He was just there every single day. It was like we was living with him. It was so freaking uncomfortable. And it just got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't got no choice but to move because this is uncomfortable. I ended up giving a huge yard sale. I sold a lot of stuff out of my store. I sold a lot of stuff out of my house. And I got the money I needed to get the first month rent and deposit for the new apartment. And at the end, on my way out to the new apartment, my person who was renting from me was sitting on the porch crying because they never found them nowhere to go. And if you want to know what happened with her and her son, just watch the next story time if you haven't watched it. It'd be good if you have watched that story time before you watch this one, but if you didn't, it'd be at the end of the story, which is I met a nut on Craigslist, okay? But from there, I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment, and I left my landlord behind. But that was the worst. It was the worst mistake. I mean, renting from Craigslist was the worst. I had the worst freaking landlord ever. The worst freaking landlord ever. Anyway, that's it for story time. Thank you, lights. Thank you for, I know you love my story time. I know. And I'm going to try to get better at trying to get my story times up for you and my rambles because I know that you love them. And love and light, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.